There's stars. Okay, and we're going to go. You know, one thing I would love is just to hit a.
Erica! Oh, you got the tassel! Erica!
You were supposed to wear it once and then thank you.
For a second, I thought you just walked out of the field.
You're first.
She might not be here.
No, but
I know that.
I feel like
The common masses, non-educated. I need, Neil's.
Senator Leahy, President McCulloch Lovell, Ms. Marcel Leahy, Dr. Glazer, Mr. Latif, Ms. Rohr, fellow trustees, Marlboro faculty, distinguished guests, and most importantly, the class of 2015. We welcome you to the 68th commencement of Marlboro College. I am Dean Nissiper. I am the chairman of the Board of Trustees. Thank you all for joining us at this 68th commencement. To the class of 2015, let me first be the one to congratulate you. Commencement is my favorite Marlboro event. It's always wonderful to see the entire Marlboro community come together to celebrate and honor the members of our graduating class who have worked so hard and who represent the culmination of not only their own efforts, but also the efforts of the faculty, the staff, the trustees, the parents, and family members over the past 4 years. 39 years ago, I sat where you sit today at my graduation from Marlboro. All of you in our 2015 class of graduates are about to join me as Marlboro alumni. You will learn the pride that I feel in being a Marlboro alum. And as you go into the world beyond Marlboro, I think you will find yourselves looking back at your time here and will appreciate what Marlboro has meant to your life and what it has contributed to you as a person. Please come back to Marlboro and be rewarded again by giving to this community so that Marlboro will be as important to students in many generations to come as it is to you and me. Thank you and congratulations to our graduating class. I now have the pleasure of introducing to you a person whose leadership of Marlboro College over the past 11 years has been extraordinary. I'm of course talking about our president, Ellen McCulloch Lovell, but the pleasure that I have had in the past gotten from introducing Ellen gives me mixed emotions this year. That is because after 11 enormously beneficial years with Ellen as our president, Ellen will be stepping down at the end of this fiscal year in June. It would take all morning to recount all of Ellen's accomplishments during her 11 years, and we really are here to celebrate our graduating class, but I do want to give you just a few of the accomplishments. First, there's the objective data, that the endowment has grown from 16 million to more than 41 million under Ellen's leadership, that our debt has decreased from 6.1 million to 4.7 million, that we have budget surpluses during her tenure that generated 2.7 million in cash reserves that we've been able to use as needed, that she raised faculty salaries with a special fundraising effort dedicated to that purpose. She started new graduate programs at the Graduate Center, and the graduate school transformed from running a deficit to now operating in the black with tremendous new programs. Under her leadership, we built the Total Health Center in 2008 and the Greenhouse in 2012, and we're now building the Snyder Center for the Visual Arts, which will open this fall, and in the process of renovating our dormitories. She led us in developing strategic plans that helped us better define who we are and where we want to be in 10 years. She raised more than 13 million from donors and foundations. But more than the accomplishments evidenced by the data, Ellen brought to Marlboro warmth, dedication, energy, unstoppable enthusiasm, and tireless devotion to Marlboro, as well as her passion for the liberal arts. She recognized immediately when she arrived how important Marlboro is in the world of higher education and did everything within her power every day she was here, whether she was on campus or off, to sustain enhance, and tell the world about the importance of Marlboro in the world of higher education. So Ellen, I know I speak on behalf of the entire community in saying that we will miss you greatly, and we thank you for the extraordinary amount you gave of yourself to Marlboro. So I introduce to all of you this outstanding individual who is still our president, at least for one more month, Ellen McCulloch Lovell.
Thank you so much, Dean, for those generous comments. Everything we've done together as Marlboro. And we're so proud to have an alumnus, class of '76, to lead the Board of Trustees. I joyously welcome you all to this celebration. I thank the dignitaries on this platform who are here to honor you soon-to-be graduates. And I thank former President Tom Regal and his wife Nancy for being here today. I applaud the musicians and our marshal who marched us into this, our final ceremony. Apples and lilacs bloomed, plans in library, party barge docked, and you in creative regalia before you commence, before you leave Marlboro. Now is the time to thank all of those who brought you to this place and this hour. I want to thank my own family who've come with their love. My dear Chris, Mother Sarah, son Evan, daughter-in-law Christy, grandgirls Lucia, Izzy, and Evie, my sister Susan, and brother-in-law Alan. Let us thank the Board of Trustees who confer your degrees and hold this college in trust for you and for the future. Please stand to be recognized. The faculty here witness your accomplishments, which also belong to them. Professor Amr Latif describes your relationships when he says, "Our students become our colleagues." To these colleagues, we offer gratitude. Among them, we recognize those who are leaving for other adventures as researchers, teachers, public policy fellows. Kat Fable, Martina Lanton, Kyle Lingard, and Abu Sawadogo. We have learned so much from you. And we wish fond farewell to our fellows, Mahmoud Boré, Sean Harrigan, Allison Montgomery, and alumnus Julie Rana, and to visiting faculty Megan Mitchell and Casey Ford. Always keep Marlboro with you. We also acknowledge the work of caring staff who befriended you and produced this commencement. Thank you. Each year, we welcome new talent to Marlboro. The college changes, and yet our strong sense of mission and civic purpose abide. The college years are important because that's when young artists and scholars discover their domains and are validated by mentors. It took me longer than you. When Senator Leahy took a chance on hiring this Vermonter, I found the mentors who shaped my life in him and Marcel. As this ritual unfolds, it recognizes you as well as 68 years of tradition at Marlboro. When we honor Ted Wendell, we honor 53 years of our history. As this ritual unfolds, remember too all the Marlboro students who went before you. May they inspire you. I was inspired by Lucy De Laurentiis, class of 2010, by her determination to finish her studies and her great capacity for friendship. We lost Lucy this year on her 29th birthday to illness. I continue to be inspired as her parents create the Lucy De Laurentiis Scholarship to be awarded to a student who has overcome health challenges to persist at Marlboro. I'd like to introduce her courageous parents, Michael and Shelley. Here we are together for one last time. Your first commencement, my 12th and last. All year I've wondered, what was I going to say to you at this time of farewell? Then you seniors gave me the answer. Some of us were in a huddle after Olivia's musical. I confided that every time I thought of graduation, I choked up. And then one of you, I think it was Rosie, said, "We are graduating together." Indeed, we are. Some of you told me that when you arrived at the beautiful village on the hill, you felt you found a home. That's what happened to Chris and me. Graduating together rings in my mind. I've learned so much from you and about you. You are a group of singular selves, yet a group intertwined by love and serious work. I see your kindness. Much of your work was intensely personal, and you still held and supported each other. The together theme rang out recently when a Marlboro group returned from Nepal, where we already had strong ties through alumna Sora Vrana. Then the earthquake struck. We passed the hat and held a raffle and silent auction to raise from this small community over $7,000 for relief. As Lynette Rummel says, the rest of the world is part of our world. That's the heart of Marlboro, one with others. You are the persistent ones who stayed winter after long winter. Some of you spent 4 years here, some 4 semesters. You range in age from 20 to 33, from as near as Brattleboro, Vermont, and far away as Homer, Alaska. You include a veteran of the United States Army and a Fulbright Award winner. You made movies from Marlboro. You are global citizens. Over a quarter of you studied abroad in places as far-flung as China, Belgium, Japan, Morocco, Poland, Costa Rica. 9 of you earned certificates in TESOL, teaching English to speakers of other languages, and 2 of you gained certificates in nonprofit management, both from our graduate and professional studies, and 1 of you earned both. Most of you started the August of Hurricane Irene. Potash Hill was totally cut off from the rest of the world. No roads, no power. Catherine O'Callahan slept in her office. Jay Craven addressed you in the dark and then rode Tim Seeger's bike down nearly impassable Ames Hill. We were alone and we relied on each other. I watched you turn into scholars, artists, colleagues. Each of you is a story worth telling. Hungrily seeking knowledge, you spent countless hours in the library, the studio, rehearsal rooms, and labs. Reflecting alone or with others, you found what sets your minds on fire. There's more. You are prepared to make the transition that starts today. You have mastered most or all of those 9 Marlboro educational ideals, the underlying competencies of a liberal education, which prepare you for graduate school, your roles as citizens, and the 8 or so careers ahead. When employers are asked what they seek in graduates, they list critical thinking, creative problem solving, expressing ideas clearly, working in teams, understanding the historical and cultural context of one's work. These are called the soft skills of a liberal education. At Marlboro, we seek to synthesize them with the hard skills of math and science. We want biologists, physicists, and computer programmers who can design our futures with the insights and imagination of the humanities and the arts. The pendulum is swinging back to what we value. Commentators David Brooks, Nicholas Kristof, and Fareed Zakaria all wrote recently in defense of a liberal education. Kristof posits that such an approach will enrich our souls and even our pocketbooks. He stated, "We need people conversant with the humanities to help reach wise public policy decisions, even about the sciences." Tell me, what is soft about knowing how to read deeply, listen attentively, speak compellingly, take responsibility, think objectively, and keep on learning? You are prepared. Take heart in what other graduates say about their Marlboro educations. Sean Cole, class of '93, now a staff producer at NPR's This American Life. Writing my plan taught me that I could accomplish even the most ridiculously ambitious goals as long as I worked hard and long enough. C.J. Walker, '07, town planner and technology researcher. The farther I get in my career, the more Marlboro matters. Alexa Boggs, 2013, law student. Marlboro's classes thoroughly, perhaps excessively, prepared me for the amount of reading and writing my professors assign in law school. To conclude, I want to focus briefly on 2 of the educational ideals. First, thoughtful and fair analysis, or what many call critical thinking, the ability to assess and formulate arguments. It means, in our own words, to criticize oneself so as to improve. Then there's ethical courage, the ability to engage in complex moral questions, to act on our determinations of right and wrong while accepting the complexities of human experience. How are they linked? Why are they important in your preparation to be one, to be with others? Aristotle said, "It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it." Yet knowing how to argue a position can result in never taking a position. Continual criticism can lead to constant skepticism that results in either moral paralysis or allowing the crowd to decide for you. Remember what William Butler Yeats wrote right after World War I in his famous poem, The Second Coming. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. By now, you've learned that some positions are better than others, some actions are more worthy, some policies enhance, some destroy. Do not allow the training of your good minds to keep you in so much doubt that you are reluctant to embrace your changing self and an engaged, loving life with others. Realize, like Harvard psychologist William Perry, that commitment is on an ongoing, unfolding, evolving activity. Leave here rejoicing in your gifts and your friendships. Apply your kindness and skills to your chosen commitments. You are ready. You are one with others. It's time to celebrate and time to say goodbye. I will leave you with the poet Mary Oliver's crucial question. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Thank you. Thank you so much. And now it is my joy to introduce Maya Rohr, literature scholar and ceramic artist, as your senior speaker.
Hi. So when I sat down over the course of I'm going to be honest, the past 2 days or so, slash this morning, to figure out what to say to you all today, I knew exactly what I wanted to say, but not precisely how to put it. So I'll struggle through. I can't promise eloquence. I think I used up my eloquence quota writing my plan, so you'll just have to bear with me. I'll begin with this. Marlboro College can be a very, very difficult place to be. I refuse to pretend otherwise. I've been here for 4 years, and I've never known loneliness like this. So strong and so present that it becomes almost tangible, a functioning part of me. And the funny thing is, I'm not alone in my loneliness. Everyone I know has experienced some sort of wall between themselves and the others here. Loneliness and its counterpart, solitude, seem to be a part of Marlboro's defining experience. Why is this? I've come to a messy conclusion, one that has lots of stray ends, which is that we simply don't talk to each other enough. You would think that communication would be simple in a community of less than 400, but that's not the case. Don't get me wrong, the people I've met at Marlboro love deeper and harder than anyone I've ever met anywhere. But sometimes in the act of caring, we forget that we must love one another in ways that don't naturally occur to us. Just as each person expresses passion and concern in their own way, they also must be cared for individually. I forget this. I forget that people don't respond to the same things I do, that even my closest friends have emotional languages that are different from mine. My love does not always translate. There has to be communication with constant effort that evolves as we evolve as people. Ursula K. Le Guin put it like this: love doesn't just sit there like a stone. It has to be made like bread, remade every day and made new. At this school, we become new so quickly. With every book, every conversation, we try to absorb new perspectives and in the process become different people every day. And we have to allow the community to see us as we are in all of our mutable glory. It's funny though, looking back, I think I came to Marlboro specifically because I knew that it would be quiet and that I would be able to be alone here. That's the difference, I think, between loneliness and solitude. One we inflict on ourselves and the other is necessary to our well-being. Everyone here knows both intimately, and sometimes they bleed into one another. Sometimes it feels like you've exiled yourself at the end of the earth, and the gray skies and pearly mountains of winter begin to work their way into your bones, and it seems it will be this way forever. The quiet, the chill, the austere books and instruments, forever and forever. But that's silly, because here we are. And we have finished something. What have we learned? That everything comes to an end, for one thing. I thought that I would feel thankful for that, and I do in a way. But I did not anticipate the enduring loneliness or the grief. Already I feel the overwhelming sense of loss, of you, my friends, my mentors, of myself, the person that I am here, the person that I became in your presence. I've been more imperfect at Marlboro than ever before, but that's because I've been forced to confront my inherent flaws here. Everything has come to the surface, all my demons and weird, wormy bits. That's what happens in a community this small, this intense, and this intuitive. We demand so much from one another that we must expend every single part of ourselves in order to function. My point is that frank, honest critique of ourselves is essential to our survival. For all its shortcomings, all the trouble that comes along with living in a small, confined space with lots of other imperfect and opinionated people, Marlboro is still a very good place to talk with those that we might totally disregard out in the real world. I've tried to live up to that, and I've failed most of the time. But I'm certainly more tolerant and a little braver than I ever was before. I think the most important thing we can do is to go out in the world and try to have the sorts of conversations that we have here, but have them more often. And I'm not talking just to graduates. I'm talking to underclassmen, faculty, staff. Each of you has a perspective, and if you keep it to yourself, we are going down. So what I beg of you and of myself is that we speak up and ask someone about their day and be prepared to listen. Next time someone makes you angry, figure out how to make it better. Write a letter, talk to a friend, and confront someone, but try not to push them farther away. Keeping ourselves isolated only perpetuates the fissures that could tear us apart in the end. But that's for later on. Right now, our more immediate concern is understanding how to say goodbye to a place that we haven't quite come to terms with yet. There's a proverb my best friend told me years ago while she was living in Catalonia, where it originated. Take hold lightly, let go lightly. This is the greatest secret of happiness and love. This has been helping me lately. If I tie my sense of self to this place, or to you, or to anything outside of myself, then I will always feel lonely and I will always feel this sense of loss. But if I acknowledge my departure, then that's not pretending, right? I tell myself this. I'll close with a poem by Elizabeth Bishop, a writer that consoled me when I was inconsolable and who has taught me about loneliness and loss and imperfection. It's called One Art. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day, except the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster. Places and names and where it was you meant to travel. None of these will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last, or next to last, of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, and vaster. Some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I miss them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love, I shan't have lied. It's evident the art of losing's not too hard to master, though it may look like, write it, like disaster. I know I am losing you and this place. We will never be the same again, but I know this, the echoes will resound forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. That was beautiful. Would Dean Nissiper and Ted Wendell please join us at the podium?
Ted, as longtime trustee and ardent supporter for longer than anyone around here can remember, you have buoyed Marlboro College with your generous spirit. You first came to Marlboro from Harvard University in 1962, ostensibly to teach mathematics, only to learn that nobody here has just one job. Within 2 years, you were also serving as Dean of Admissions, earning you the title of Teen Dean. After earning your master's degree in mathematics from the University of Washington, you returned in 1966 to serve as the first full-time Dean of Students, which you did until 1968. But you had already left your mark on Marlboro. As you were preparing to leave for graduate school in 1965, longtime American Studies professor Dick Judd wittily named the first annual cross-country ski race the Ted Wendell Memorial Cup. When you rejoined the college as a dean of students, we dropped the memorial. And when Dick died in 2007, you added his name. The annual Wendell Judd Cup remains one of Marlboro's most celebrated traditions. You went on to launch a successful career in investment management, working alongside celebrated Swedish portfolio manager Håkan Castegren for many years. In 2003, you became a founding partner and portfolio manager for Northern Cross, an international investment management firm that was awarded the Morningstar International Manager of the Year in 2007. As a Marlboro trustee for many years, chairman from 1997 to 2001, and treasurer too, you have always upheld the college's highest ideals, engaged with its day-to-day challenges and triumphs. To address retention in 2008, you and your wife, Mary, helped launch the Bridges program, which offers fully funded activities such as backpacking, spelunking, dance, and writing to welcome new students. And now you have fully endowed this program. You and Mary are active philanthropists supporting numerous cultural, humanitarian, and educational institutions. You have traveled extensively in Asia as treasurer of the Poverty Alleviation Fund, but you have also had a particular penchant for Potash Hill. As you have said, I believe in Marlboro in the mission to preserve the intense one-on-one teaching that has been Marlboro's practice over the years. For your service to higher education and philanthropy in keeping with the ideals of Marlboro College, it is our pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Humane Letters.
Greetings. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Dean, trustees. This is indeed a great honor for me, and I thank the faculty and trustees and the greater Marlboro community. My deepest affection for Marlboro comes from the friendships I've enjoyed, from my first boss, Tom Regal, through the wonderful faculty, staff, and trustees, and through the students, and to our current president, Ellen McCulloch Lovell. When I arrived in Marlboro in the fall of '62 to teach math, the mission of the college was simply to teach students to think. Though somewhat expanded, that still is the essence of the college mission today. From my own point of view, this mission encapsulates what I've learned in some 40-odd years of association with the college. I would only slightly modify the original mission. My modification to the mission would read, to teach students to think for themselves. Perhaps it is the interaction of the rugged hills of Vermont and the purity of the liberal arts learning on that happens at Marlboro. Perhaps it's the structure of town meeting and having a community where collective decisions are lived with day by day. Perhaps it's the conviviality that comes from living with people whom you come to love and respect, regardless of political persuasion. Perhaps it's a combination of all of these. So one takeaway from Marlboro has been a guiding principle to absorb the information flow of daily life and structure it into a way that makes sense to me. Should that structure need adjustment, it becomes incumbent on me to address that issue if I can. Should my thinking need adjustment, as from time to time my wife Mary will tell me, then it's incumbent on me to make that adjustment. So read the papers, live life, participate and enjoy the world, trust your own judgment to sort out the raw material. Again, my thanks to Marlboro College.
We didn't get our signals right. This is very important. Would Marcel Leahy and Dean Nissiper please join me at the podium? It's okay. You make the music. As a prominent member of the Vermont community who believes in giving back generously, you have inspired generations of Vermonters. A first-generation American citizen born in Newport, Vermont, with French-Canadian roots, you received your RN from the Jean Mance School of Nursing in Burlington. Since then, you have served society as a skilled and experienced nurse in Vermont, Washington, D.C., and Virginia. Following the Vermont tradition, you are deeply involved in your local and national community. As the honorary chair of the Vermont National Guard Family Readiness and Support Program, you work to educate and support the families of Guard members. You also serve on the boards of the Washington National Opera and the College of Nursing and Health Sciences at the University of Vermont. You are active with the Spouses of the Senate chapter of the American Red Cross. Even more personally, your experience as a melanoma survivor and your knowledge as a nurse have inspired you to speak publicly about your cancer, cancer prevention, and the importance of preventative and healthful practices. You serve on the board of Tracy's Kids, a pediatric art therapy program helping young cancer patients and their families cope with cancer and its treatment. And you are a sustaining director of the Prevent Cancer Foundation. On top of all of this, you have been a steadfast partner and supporter of Vermont's longest-serving senator, with whom you celebrated your 50th anniversary in 2012. You've traveled the world together, most recently to Cuba, and you've made friends with world leaders and humanized diplomacy with your warmth and grace. Marcel Leahy, for your life of public service and for the benefit of Vermonters and Americans, in keeping with the ideals of Marlboro College, it is our pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Humane Letters.
I do believe that another Leahy is going to be speaking to you. So, and I know he will be much more eloquent than I could ever be. But I, as a person who has only received a diploma in nursing, I never had a college degree. I am twice honored. Thank you very, very much.
you, Felix and Helen. That was beautiful. Would Senator Patrick J. Leahy and Dean Nisseper please join me at the podium?
Oh. Same way when she was my boss.
As a U.S. Senator for a remarkable 40 years, now the most senior senator in the chamber and President pro tempore emeritus, you have represented the needs and the interests of the people of Vermont with distinction, Yankee-style prudence, and honesty. Your innate sense of justice, the rights of people, and our responsibilities to the land have made an indelible impression on the hearts and minds of Vermonters. Born in Montpelier and graduate of St. Michael's College, you received your JD from Georgetown University Law Center before serving for 8 years as Vermont State's Attorney in Chittenden County. Now, after 4 decades in the U.S. Senate, you're a ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee and senior-most member of the Appropriations Committee and Agriculture Committee. You have always been active on human rights issues, writing the first law of any government to ban the export of landmines and playing a key role in the international treaty banning these weapons. Ranked among the top environmental legislators by the nation's foremost conservation organizations, you helped secure more than $70 million in federal funds to clean up Lake Champlain and added more than 125 acres to the Green Mountain National Forest. You have been the Senate's leading champion of open government and the Freedom of Information Act, and Internet Magazine called you the most net-friendly member of Congress. You are an accomplished and widely published photographer yourself. Your most recent exhibition in Washington and in Brattleboro, titled World Leaders and Global Citizens, speaks to the artistry and the humanism that are highly valued at Marlboro College. Even with all these accomplishments, you have found time to be the coolest member of Congress. From being a fan of the Grateful Dead to having cameo appearances in Batman television episodes and films. In The Dark Knight Rises, where you played a Wayne Enterprises board member, you told the Joker convincingly, "We are not intimidated by thugs." Your decades of dedication to the rights and responsibilities of American citizens and the needs of the Green Mountain State that Marlboro College calls home stand as testimony to the highest principles of democracy. Senator Patrick Leahy, for your life of public service in keeping with the ideals of Marlboro College, it is our pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Laws. Now, please welcome our commencement speaker, United States Senator Patrick J. Leahy.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, this is kind of fun, and President Lovell, unlike the Joker, you didn't put a knife to my throat. You gave me the degree instead. I want to say hello to everybody who's here, and Marcel and I want to thank you for inviting us to join on this wonderful, perfect Vermont day. As we drove down here, we could not think of a better day, and And I'm so proud to be here with Dr. Leahy also. So. And we both checked the degrees were signed. Now let me say first a word about Ellen Lovell. She served as my chief of staff from 1983 to 1994. She's been a special friend to Marcel and myself for over 30 years. I only joked a little bit about her being my boss because I always felt I was a constitutional impediment to Ellen, who really ran things, and did so very well. You know, she came from the Vermont Council on the Arts, which incidentally was at 136 State Street, the building I grew up in Montpelier. And after she worked for me, she went to work in the Clinton White House. That's the Bill Clinton White House, in case anybody looks. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist that. But she was exemplary at the White House, and I know both the President and the First Lady went out of their way to praise her to me. But I also wanted to praise her for Marlboro, because I think Marlboro is a better institution for Ellen's time here. I never knew Walter Hendricks, but I knew why he founded this school, to create not just a school, but a community where students and faculty participate actively, both academic and community life. Look at what each of the students have done, what they studied. This is amazing. And I think Marlboro becomes a better place all the time, but Ellen, it's at its best because of you, and I compliment you for that. Now, let's gather here to celebrate the accomplishments of this class of graduates. We're thinking as soon as this is over, we can get out of here. We could talk about a number of things. You know, starting tomorrow or even today, each of you is going to chart your path. And I look at the backgrounds you have, I think you're going to have extraordinary careers ahead of you. But whatever you choose, and wherever you end up, national and world events and the decisions made by your government to deal with them and shape them are going to affect you. Some of you actually have a say in that process, and I was privileged to do that. So let me use my few minutes. I want to tell you a story about how a recent example of how a few very determined people inside and outside of government working together can bring about a profound change in the world around us. 55 years ago, after the Cuban Revolution that brought Fidel Castro to power, President Eisenhower severed diplomatic relations with Cuba. And since then, Congress, spurred on by, I believe, a minority in this country, imposed a tangled web of unilateral sanctions against Cuba in an attempt to bring about the overthrow of the Castro government. I told President Obama once that I could almost see the memo. The memo said, "Mr. President, hold tough, and those Castros will be gone." Now that memo was sent to President Eisenhower, and then to President Kennedy, then to President Johnson, then to President Nixon. He said, "Pat, I get your point." Well, you know, from prohibiting trade and investment by American companies with Cuba, tightly restricting travel by American citizens to Cuba, so we're not down there and let the Cubans see who we really are. These sanctions are more onerous than in fact against any other country in the world. Think of this. The sanctions we have against this tiny little island nation are greater than sanctions against anywhere else. For example, American tourists can visit any other country in the world if they'll give them a visa, including North Korea, Syria, Iran, so forth, but not Cuba. It's an anachronistic policy. And it made no argument. It made no sense. You know, they said, those who argued for it said the embargo, even though the embargo has not achieved any of its objectives, and it's been there for 50 years, and through 9 presidencies, we ought to keep it in place, because sooner or later it's bound to work. Well, you know, hope springs eternal, but not in this Irish-Italian boy, let me tell you right now. I've been to Cuba a number of times. I'm no fan of the Cuban government. It's a repressive one-party state. The economy's in shambles. But, as I've told both Presidents Castro, be thankful for our embargo. You can blame everything that goes wrong in your country on the United States. Well, I'm frankly one who thinks that something's been an abysmal failure for over half a century. Let's try something different. In fact, I think that's the way most people think. The embargo not only failed to bring about desired changes in Cuba's government, it's isolated the United States. It's become a thorn in our relations with other countries, especially in this hemisphere, but around the world. And frankly, it's beneath a great nation like ours to be treating a tiny neighbor this way. I would say that is not being the American way, and that should change. Now, I began asking everybody in Washington, listen to me, why don't we change this? I knew the president didn't like the policy, the vice president didn't, the secretary of state did, everybody. I said, well, everybody's against it. Why don't we change it? Now, it might seem like an obvious question, but as recently as 6 months ago, the conventional wisdom was that any attempt to change the policy was doomed as long as the Castros were in power. But I felt we should try. I thought it became clear to me that to change the policy and reestablish diplomatic relations with Cuba, there were a number of things we could do. First, we had to broker the release of Alan Gross. Mr. Gross was a U.S. government contractor from Maryland. He'd been arrested in Cuba. He was serving a 15-year prison sentence for secretly distributing cell phone technology that is illegal in Cuba. Well, the solution to his case came long before he was, I felt, long before he was arrested. I think of the first time I traveled to Cuba 16 years ago. Marcel and I met with then President Fidel Castro over dinner. We went through a whole wide range of issues. But to my surprise, the debate ended with who had the best ice cream. He said, of course, we have the best ice cream. And I said, no, we got Ben & Jerry's. He said, never heard of it. I said, well, you'd like me to send some, knowing that Ben Cohen would be glad to charter a plane and go down and discuss the revolution with him. He said, I don't care. And on the way out, he grabbed Marcel's arm and he said, be sure and pack the ice cream in dry ice. Well, I told him I'd send him some. And then I found out we have an embargo against that, too. Figured out, well, wait a minute. We were down there for a baseball game, by coincidence, when we were there. The Orioles were playing the Cubans. The Cubans then came to Baltimore to play the Orioles. I said, we get three cases, 3 big coolers of every kind of ice cream Ben & Jerry's made. We'll seal them all up, tell the baseball team you can have any 2 you want. The third one goes to President Castro, which is what happened. I didn't hear anything for a while till the Cuban government said, we have something for you. Can we come by your office? And they come in with this handmade wooden box. And I thought, oh, good Lord. It better not be one thing I'm thinking of. Well, it turned out to be a bottle of every kind of Cuban rum there is, with a note from Castro saying, the product of your state is very good. Try the product of my state. Well, since then, Marcel and I have gone down several times. We've met twice with Raul Castro. The first meeting started off not too well. I said, we'll remember. I said, we're of an age. He said, I'm older than you are. I said, okay. I said, well, we'll remember the things we think you did wrong. You remember the things you think we did right. He said, you're a bigger country. You did more things wrong. I'm thinking, this is not getting anywhere. And I said, wouldn't it be nice if our children, our grandchildren, grow up in a different world? He said, I have a great-granddaughter. At which point, the real diplomat in the Leahy family, the new Dr. Marcel Leahy, said, oh, Mr. President, do you have a photograph of her? He goes, yes, I do. Runs to his desk, pulls it. Isn't she beautiful? She's 8 years old. Well, we didn't start talking about her. That gesture changed everything. Since then, we've exchanged pictures of our family. He sends me of his with his children and grandchildren, great-granddaughter, with handwritten notes on the back explaining what they are. Now, my message to him, of course, was that, yes, they had made mistakes, and we'd made mistakes. But let's think about those children and grandchildren. Same message I brought over and over again to Northern Ireland when we were trying to bring about peace there. Now, I mention this because the historic change announced by President Obama last December, on the day Alan Gross was finally released, came about by so much diplomacy. We had secret meetings in New York. I even showed up on crutches at one of them because I hurt myself hiking. And in Canada and in Cuba, secret letters going back and forth. I got a confidential call on Wednesday, December 16th. The agreement had been reached. The president asked me if I'd take a small delegation on his plane the next day to bring Alan Gross home from Havana. For years, I've been working nonstop to get him back there. Tim Reeser, who some of you know from this area, went down and visited Alan Gross several times and talked to him at least once a week to make sure that he would not totally despair. So at 4 a.m., we board the plane, the president's backup Air Force One, at Andrews Air Force Base just outside of Washington. Alan Gross's wife was on board. Congressman Chris Van Hollen, who was Alan's congressman, Republican Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona, who visited Cuba with me, had been a close friend and help on Cuban policy issues. And you know what was really kind of neat? The president has 3 personal photographers. One of them was on board the plane with us. That one happens to be our son-in-law. So we could have breakfast together on the way down. And of course, I brought my own camera. Now, we near the airspace and we choreographed 3 things are going on. We had 3 airplanes coming from the United States. Our plane, with big blue and white United States of America on the side of it, you've seen the photographs. President landed a small military plane. A U.S. Marshal's plane landed at a second field. And an unmarked aircraft from I'll just say a U.S. intelligence agency, landed at a third. Now, they were all involved in exchange of prisoners, part of the agreement. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous day. We could see it out the window as we landed in the Caribbean. We were on the ground for 31 minutes. We talked to each other during that time. My party descended the steps. We walked a short distance to a small terminal building. Alan Gross, who'd been in his cell hours before, had not been told he was going to be released, was brought out to meet us. And then when he saw his wife and he saw the rest of us, and he looked over our shoulder and saw the airplane, the smile on his face. It made all those hours and years and work worth it. We all embraced. We didn't waste time. We walked back to the plane. At the other airport, 3 Cuban prisoners that we had held, the United States, were let off the U.S. Marshal's plane. The Attorney General and I and others had worked with the President. Their sentences were commuted. And at the third airport, an unnamed prisoner who had been a so-called U.S. asset held in a Cuban jail was led to that third unmarked plane, and we all took off together. Now, Alan had lost about 100 pounds in prison. He was even thinner than when I last visited him, lost a number of teeth, but he was so full of energy. We got on the plane. We're standing in the president's office, 2 large TV monitors, each tuned to American cable news. One of them was reporting a rumor that Alan Gross had been released. He said, I'll confirm that rumor. And when we saw that we were over American soil, I said, Alan, you're finally free. He threw his arms around me. He said, Patrick, I finally believe it. And then a steward tapped him on the shoulder and said, Mr. Gross, the president's on the plane. will you take the call? I suggested he probably should. It wasn't collect. And so he went into the president's office and he took the plane. Now, and then just as we landed, President Obama and President Castro simultaneously announced that we're opening a new era in our relationship. Now, this has taken a lot of thinking by governments and a lot of inertia you had to overcome. In fact, there's times I was as frustrated with the White House and the State Department as I was with the Cubans. But all the ideas were flat out rejected at first, were ultimately accepted. And President Obama recognized that failed Cold War policy was hurting us more than it's hurting the Cuban government. But this is only the beginning. They've got to improve civil liberties there, and we've got to improve a reality in our own views. And the U.S. Congress still needs to end the restriction on travel and trade with Cuba. Come on, boys and girls in the Congress, come in to this century. You know, this was an example of a few people working out of the limelight. I held no press conferences during all this time. We tried, so much of this was done so secretly that in the New York meetings, only Marcel and I and Tim Reeser were at those meetings. So you may wonder why I'm telling this story. Well, it's your last day of college. Take some ideas. First, when people say something cannot be done, it's possible they're right, but it's really possible they're wrong, and they're only saying this because it's never been done, not because it can't be. And second, big changes require collective effort. No single person, none of us individually, not even the president, could have achieved this result. If you want to achieve results, whether it's in your community, your college, your office, work together with others. Third, change usually occurs incrementally, not all at once. This may seem obvious, but believe me, in industry, in schools, and everything else, people sometimes forget this. Fourth, think before you speak. Think about that. or before you hit the send button. There are times, even though everyone agreed we wanted to improve relations, somebody felt they had to go before the press, either in U.S. or Cuba, and make some provocative statement, and we have to start all over again. And fifth, solutions to very few problems are black and white. Sure, the embargo has been an abysmal failure, but it's not the cause of most of Cuba's problems. They were, after all, trading with other countries. They actually helped keep a repressive regime in power. So you use the tools of critical thinking you acquire at this school. Differentiate from fact from fiction and political correctness from reality. You were taught to think here, not just learn, but to think. Oh, Lord, I wish more people were. And last, treat people with respect. You know, one thing we found, the Cubans really want to be treated with respect. You would think this would be automatic. But read a book by a man named Kinzer called The Brothers and look at all the mistakes made over the years. We didn't teach people with respect. So whether you're going to be a concert pianist, one of the great musicians we've heard here, a software designer, school teacher, lawyer, farmer, make your community better. Think of some of these things. You actually do make a difference. People will tell you that, but you can and you will. Work with others who feel the same way. And congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Leahy. As Dean of Faculty, it is my honor to announce the recipients of Marlboro's academic prizes. But before I begin, I would like to ask the Emeriti faculty who are here today to stand and be recognized for their continued dedication to Marlboro. Thank you. As I read the names of the awards recipients, I ask that students please stand as their names are announced and remain standing until all the prizes have been awarded. The Rebecca Willow Prize, established in 2008 in memory of Rebecca Willow, class of 1995, is awarded to a student whose presence brings personal integrity and kindness to the community and who unites an interest in human history and culture with a passion for the natural world. And there are two recipients, Claire Trail and Teresa Chokpingboon. The Audrey Allen Gorton Award is given in memory of Audrey Gorton, Marlboro alumna and member of the faculty for 33 years, to the student who best reflects the Gorton qualities of passion for reading and independence of critical judgment, fastidious attention to matters of style, and a gift for intelligent conversation. And it goes to Tommy Arsenault. The Hilly Van Loan Prize, established by the class of 2000 in honor of Hilly Van Loan, Marlboro class of 1962 and staff member for 23 years, is given to the senior who best reflects Hilly's wisdom, compassion, community involvement, quiet dedication to the spirit of Marlboro, joy in writing, and celebration of life. Is Hilly here today? She's often here, but she may not be here today. No. Two recipients, Nancy Sohn and Anna Blackburn. The William Davison Prize, created by the Town Meeting Select Board and named in honor of Will Davison, who served as a faculty member for 18 years and as a trustee for 22 years, is awarded to one or more students for extraordinary contributions to the Marlboro community. And there are three students, Kendall O'Connell, Ivy Woodrow, and Laura Rainbow Stakowitz. The Ryan Larson Memorial Prize was established in 2006 in memory of Ryan Jeffrey Larson, who felt transformed by the opportunities to learn and grow within the embrace of Marlboro College. It is awarded annually to a junior or senior who best reflects Ryan's qualities of philosophical curiosity, creativity, compassion, and spiritual inquiry. And there are two awards, Christian Lampert and Amelia Brown. The Helen W. Clark Award is awarded for the visual arts faculty for the best plan of concentration in the fine arts. This award has been supported by the generosity of faculty emerita Willeen Clark, who passed away earlier this year, and her colleagues in the visual arts and across the college in honor of her mother. And there are one recipient, Elizaveta Mitrofanova. The Sally and Valerio Montanari Theater Prize is awarded annually to a graduating senior who has made the greatest overall contribution to the pursuit of excellence in theater production. And it goes to Saskia Girama. The Dr. Lawrence C. Bronson Award for Excellence in Classics, established by the family of Lauren Bronson, class of 1973, is awarded to encourage undergraduate work in classics. And there are two recipients, Phoebe Ukomian and Pat Burgess. The Roland W. Boyden Prize is given by the humanities faculty to a student who has demonstrated excellence in the humanities. Roland Boyden was a founding faculty member of the college, acting president, dean, and trustee. And there are two recipients, Aidan Kiva and Martha Hensey. The Buck Turner Prize is awarded to a student who demonstrates excellence in the natural sciences, who uses interdisciplinary approaches, and who places his or her work in the context of larger questions. And there are two recipients, Chandra Wade and Anna Gorin. The Freshman-Sophomore Essay Prize is given annually for the best essay written for a Marlboro course, and the recipient is Fiona Craig. The Robert H. MacArthur Prize was established in 1973 in memory of Robert MacArthur, class of 1951, and recently rededicated to Robert and also to John and Robert's parents, John and Olive MacArthur, who founded the science program at Marlboro College. The contest for the prize is in the form of a question or challenge offered to the entire student community, and John MacArthur is here today. There's a tie for first place going to Malachy Riley and John Ivers. Third place, I'll do all of it. Third place to Maya Rohr, and honorable mention to Anna Blackburn. The Robert E. Engel Award, established in 2011 in honor of Bob Engel, Marlboro faculty member for 36 years, is awarded to a student who demonstrates Bob's passion for the natural world and his keen powers of observation and inquiry as a natural historian. And I know Bob is here because I saw him earlier, but he's shy. There he is, right over there. Thank you, Bob. And there are two recipients, Elizaveta Mitrofanova and Megan Stipolkowski. And we have one more, the Jedediah Adam Leland Fells Award, established this year with donations from over 80 alumni in memory of Jed Fells, class of 1992. Recognizes a second semester freshman or sophomore who demonstrates a passion for the literary and or dramatic arts, and whose sense of humor and unique or even provocative community presence embodies the core values of the college. And the first recipient is Emma Studebaker. On behalf of the faculty, let's applaud all of these awardees.
You ready? Thomas Paul Arsenal, Bachelor of Arts, Politics, Political Theory and Dance, Improvisation, and exploration of how Benedict de Spinoza and movement practices reframe identity politics and activism. Faculty sponsors, Meg Mott, Kristen Horrigan, outside evaluator, Casey Ford, University of Guelph. Adeline Sarah Banker Johnson, Bachelor of Arts, TESOL certificate, Gender Studies, an exploration of transformative approaches to social justice with specific attention to the queer movement and social change. Sponsors, Catherine Fable, Rosario de Swanson. Outside evaluator, Leandra Smolin, Northeastern University. Max Gruniger Barksdale, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, Politics, European Union, a study of the European Union with a focus on the levels of integration and the EU's relationship with Germany. Sponsors, Lynette Rummel, Seth Harder. Outside evaluator, Thomas Redden, Southern Vermont College. Mia Allison Bertelli, Bachelor of Arts, Liberal Studies, Aesthetics, Architecture, Music, and Craft Theory. Harmony in Built Space, a study of sacred architecture and spatial configuration in Mantova, Italy, and Edirne, Turkey. Sponsors, Felicity Rattay, Matan Rubenstein. Outside evaluator, Walter Denny, University of Massachusetts, Amherst. Anna J. Blackburn, Bachelor of Arts, Writing and Literature, a collection of poetry, short fiction, and an essay on the travel poems of Elizabeth Bishop. Sponsor, T. Hunter Wilson. Outside evaluator, Alan Feldman, Framingham State University, Emeritus. Alexander Bobella, Bachelor of Arts, Religion and Dance, an examination of the spiritual nature of experience and daily manifestations of religion through the work of choreographer Deborah Hay. Sponsors, Amr Latif, Kristen Horrigan. Outside evaluator, Candace Salvers, Smith College. Amelia Bielen Brown, Bachelor of Arts, Politics and Religion, an exploration of Islam and Sharia with a focus on questions of beauty, human rights, and legal systems. Sponsor, Lynette Rummel, Amr Latif. Outside evaluator, Jeffrey Bergen, World Bank consultant. Teresa Chalkbenboom, Bachelor of Arts, TESOL certificate, Biology, Public Health. Public health fieldwork projects in Southeast Asia examining water quality in rural villages and hospital patient satisfaction. Sponsor, Jamie Tanner. Outside evaluator, Margaret Henning, Keene State College. Amber Michelle Claxton, Bachelor of Arts, Biology, Marine Biology, and Visual Arts, a study of the vocal communication of whales and its role in speciation, as well as a body of fantastical artwork. Sponsors, Jamie Tanner, Timothy Seeger. Outside evaluator, Jessica Cooney, Choate Rosemary Hall. Devin Cleary, Bachelor of Arts, TESOL certificate, Languages, German and Liberal Studies, Translation Studies. A study focused on a critical and constructive theory of translation and translations between German and English. Sponsor, William Edelglass. Outside evaluator, Michael Huffmaster, University of Puerto Rico. Natalie Faye Cohen, Bachelor of Arts, Literature, Women's Studies, and Exploration of Abortion Stigma in the United States through depictions of reproductive autonomy and coercion. Sponsors, Geraldine Pittman de Baget, John Sheehy. Outside evaluator, Joanne Hayes, Greenfield Community College. I know Natalie couldn't be here, but I'll lead the applause for her. Dylan A. Collins, Bachelor of Arts, Sociology and Writing, Fiction, a paper calling for a ban on the use of corporal punishment on children in the United States. Sponsors, Catherine Fable, T. Hunter Wilson, outside evaluator, Amy Grillo, Mount Holyoke College. Nina Eslambolipur, Bachelor of Arts, Visual Arts, a paper on Middle Eastern representation and a body of artwork inspired by the immigrant identity. Project, a body of artworks in two-dimensional form. Sponsors, Kathy Osman, Megan Mitchell, Timothy Seeker. Outside evaluator, Gina Siepel, Amherst College. Victoria Rose Fura, Bachelor of Arts, Literature, American Literature and Gender Studies, War and Masculinity. Analysis of the genre of war literature supported by the study of masculinity in literary and film representations of war. Sponsors, John Sheehy, Catherine Fable. Outside evaluator, Brian Kastner, author. Saskia Jarama, Bachelor of Arts, Theater, an exploration of representations of artificial intelligence through dramatic literature and film with a focus on design in performance. Sponsors, Brenda Foley, John Sheehy. Outside evaluator, Vincent Ulrich, Science Fiction Theater Company. Anna Evelyn Gorin, Bachelor of Arts, Mathematics, Geographical Information Sciences, a study of the worldwide and Indonesian coffee industries using geographical information systems. Sponsors, Matthew Olas, Adam Franklin Lyons. Outside evaluator, Andy Anderson, Amherst College. Caitlin Ann Hargrove, Bachelor of Arts, TESOL certificate, Psychology, Sociology, an examination of how and why those who need mental health care the most in the United States go without. Sponsors, Tom Tolino, Catherine Fable. Outside evaluator, David Johnson, independent psychotherapist. Julian Christopher J. Harris, Bachelor of Arts, Photography, Journalism, and Exploration of Journalism through Photography in Morocco and Research on Government Journalistic Censorship. Sponsors, John Willis, Lynette Rummel. Outside evaluator, Jen Morris, Landmark College. Max Samuel Hatfield, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, Asian Studies and Sociology, an analysis of the social status and identity of indigenous Taiwanese tribes, both historical and contemporary. Sponsors Seth Harder, Catherine Fable, outside evaluator Ginger Lynn, Bennington College. Martha Ann Hensey, Bachelor of Arts, Literature, Holocaust and Genocide Studies. Essays considering the representation of violence in Holocaust and genocide literature with a focus on the lived experience of the witness. Sponsors, Richard Glazier, William Edelglass. Outside evaluator, Michael Bernard Donalds, University of Wisconsin-Madison. Wait a minute. Oh, it's all right. I'm always afraid I'm going to miss somebody. Louisa Stewart Janess, Bachelor of Arts, TESOL certificate, Languages, Chinese and Arabic, a study of problems in translation using Chinese and Arabic. Sponsors, Grant Lee, Seth Harder, Amr Latif. Outside evaluator, Ling Zhao, Smith College. Danielle Marie Johnson, Bachelor of Science, Chemistry, Cosmetic Science, a laboratory exploration of nail polishes' chemical properties and the performance of commercial and self-designed formulas. Sponsor, Todd Smith, outside evaluator, Susan Suttheimer, Green Mountain College. Mason Clark Jones, TESOL certificate, Asian Studies, Applied Linguistics, a study of English language policy in British India, Singapore, and Hong Kong, including current global trends. Sponsor Seth Harder, outside evaluator, Stephen Iams, SIT Graduate Institute. Rosie Beckett Kahn, Bachelor of Arts, Certificate in Nonprofit Management, and TESOL Certificate, American Studies and Dance, Gender Studies, an investigation of gender and femininity through a study of the implicit lessons taught in American ballet. Sponsors, Catherine Radcliffe, Kristen Horrigan. Outside evaluator, Kate Tarlow, independent choreographer and author. Aidan Michael Kiva, Bachelor of Arts, Philosophy, a phenomenological investigation of perception, expression, and the lived body. Sponsor, William Edelglass, outside evaluator, David Abram, Alliance for Wild Ethics. Erica Mushabak-Klemperer, Bachelor of Arts, Dance, Choreography, and Visual Arts, Sculpture, a study of humor found in Western culture through dance, visual art, gender, and Buster Keaton's stage persona. Sponsors, Kristen Harrigan, Timothy Seeger, outside evaluator, Cynthia McLaughlin, Keene State College. Elise Marie Knight, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology, Cultural Studies, and Painting, an examination of the role interpersonal relationships and heritage play in the conceptualization of identity. Sponsors, Thomas Tolino, Kyle Lingard, Kathy Osman, outside evaluator, Linda Witten, independent psychologist. Eftihia Papa Ioannou Loupakis, Bachelor of Science. Bachelor of Arts. So, work in progress. Literature and Religion, an analysis of suffering through the lens of Eastern Orthodox Christianity as presented in Dostoevsky's work. Sponsors, Geraldine Pittman de Baget, Amr Latif. Outside evaluator, Polina Bashkova, Hampshire College. Phoebe Lumley, Bachelor of Arts, Writing and Literature, an exploration of the theme of family in American literature, combining literary criticism and original fiction. Sponsors, T. Hunter Wilson, Gloria Biamonte, John Sheehy, outside evaluator, Catherine Kramer, Middlebury College. Claire Chavan Mellini, Bachelor of Arts, Politics and Languages, French. A study of political and economic inequality, including the immunity of sovereigns in international law and collective action. Sponsors, Lynette Rummel, Bukhari Sawadogo, outside evaluator, Jeffrey Bergen, World Bank consultant. Elizaveta Mitrofanova, Bachelor of Science, Ceramics and Biology, Soil Ecology, Ceramic Installation Exploring Loss and Time, and Fieldwork in Writing and Biology on the Symbiosis between Legumes, Rhizobia, and Mycorrhizae. Sponsors, Megan Mitchell, Jennifer Ramstetter. Outside evaluators, David Katz, Bennington College, Robert Engel, ecologist, and Marlboro emeritus. Randy Morantes, Bachelor of Arts, Politics and Economics, a technological analysis of the trajectories and dynamics of capitalist development. Sponsors, Meg Mott, James Tober. Outside evaluator, Scott McLean, Quinnipiac University. Jacob Bernstein Morley, Bachelor of Arts, Visual Arts, Noise, and Music, Noise, an exploration of the philosophical, aesthetic, and cultural aspects of noise as an excess of information. Sponsors, Jay Craven, Matan Rubenstein. Outside evaluator, Catherine Siller, artist. Kendall Yarnell O'Connor, Bachelor of Arts, Biology, Ecology, Writing, Ecological Research on Invasive Plant Species, and Essays on Landscape in Edward Abbey's Desert Solitaire and Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Sponsors, Jennifer Ramstetter, Kyle Wingard. Outside evaluator, Laird Christensen, Green Mountain College. Dustin Richard Paulo, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology, Narrative Therapy, and Philosophy, Post-Structuralism, interfacing current practice in narrative therapy with the theoretical writings of Jacques Derrida related to self-writing. Sponsors, Thomas Tolino, William Edelglass. Outside evaluator, Casey Ford, University of Guelph. Haley Rachel Peters, Bachelor of Arts, TESOL Certificate, Literature and Writing, an examination of themes of grief, mourning, and post-traumatic growth in the 20th century literature, supported by original work in creative nonfiction. Sponsors, John Sheehy, Gloria Biamonte. Outside evaluator, Joanne Hayes, Greenfield Community College. Nina Sophia Rodwin, Bachelor of Arts, American Studies and Photography, an exploration of the relationship between technology and society in the United States with an emphasis on gender, class, and household technology. Sponsors, Catherine Ratcliffe, John Willis. Outside evaluator, Anthony Gengarelli, Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts. Maya Grace Rohr, Bachelor of Arts, Ceramics and Literature, American Literature, a meditation on home, memory, and loss conducted through ceramic art and literary analysis. Sponsors, John Sheehy, Gloria Biamonte, Megan Mitchell. Outside evaluator, Mary Berenger, independent artist. I think Olivia couldn't come back from Germany for this, but I'm going to read her out as well. Olivia Maria Schaff, Bachelor of Arts, Theater, a study of Bertolt Brecht's theater theory and his word in translation through the lens of the musical Happy End. Sponsors, Brenda Foley, William Edelglass. Outside evaluator, Elizabeth Daly, Plymouth State University. Zoe Cameron Schneider, Bachelor of Arts in International Studies, Asian Studies, English Education in China, an analysis of educational reform in China with emphasis on exam fetishism. Sponsor Seth Harder, outside evaluator, Stephen Iams, SIT Graduate Institute. Peter Syback, Bachelor of Arts, Theater, an exploration of theater as a response to social issues stemming from the Vietnam conflict. Sponsor, Brenda Foley. Outside evaluator, Charlotte Meehan, Wheaton College. Hi, Nancy E. Sung, Bachelor of Arts, Politics, Performance Studies, a study of the emotional literacy used in various feedback theories and how performance can strengthen individual agency and community. Sponsors, Meg Mott, Jean O'Hara. Outside evaluator, Lee Sanders, Hampshire College. Maya Ray Talbot Holloway, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology, Nonverbal Communication and Dance, an exploration of the perception and daily usage of nonverbal communication in social contexts and on performance. Sponsors, Thomas Tolino, Kristen Horrigan. Outside evaluator, Kate Morgan, independent choreographer and author. Congratulations, Maya. Claire Elizabeth Trail, Bachelor of Arts, Environmental Studies, Sustainable Agriculture, an explanation of practices to create agricultural systems that do not degrade the soil and surrounding ecosystem. Sponsors, Jennifer Ramstetter, Jamie Tanner. Outside evaluator, Tatiana Schreiber, Keene State College. Courtney Elizabeth Varga, Bachelor of Arts, TESOL certificate, Asian Studies, Social Justice and English Education in Asia, an examination of how a social justice framework can be incorporated into teaching English as a second language. Sponsor, Seth Harder. Outside evaluator, Mary Cowhey, Jackson Street School. Chandra Lynn Wade, Bachelor of Arts, Biology, Neurobiology, and Religion, an investigation into the connection between embodied cognition, memory, and ritual. Sponsors, Jamie Tanner, Amr Latif. Outside evaluator, Holly Taylor, Tufts University. Dakota Walsh, Bachelor of Arts, Certificate in Nonprofit Management, Art History and American Studies and Photography, an exploration of early 19th century New England material culture focusing on female education and mourning imagery. Sponsors, Felicity Rattay, Catherine Ratcliffe, John Willis. Outside evaluator, David Lazaro, Historic Deerfield. Travis Pierce Wilmot, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology and Religion, a study of universality as posited in the fields of transpersonal psychology and comparative religion. Sponsors, Thomas Tolino, Amr Latif. Outside evaluator, Karen Blanchard, SIT Graduate Institute. Ivy Christina Woodrow, Bachelor of Arts, Psychology, Bibliotherapy and Literature, a study of bibliotherapy, including a review of implementations on college campuses, and a paper on Marlboro College's recent efforts. Sponsors, Thomas Tolino, Gloria Biamonte. Outside evaluator, Maria Elena Medrano, professional counselor. Right to left. By the authority vested in us by the State of Vermont and the Board of Trustees, we now declare you graduates of Marlboro College. We praise and congratulate the class of 2015, true to yourselves to the end. Now, I would like for our last ritual to introduce our professor of religion, Amr Latif, for the valediction. And I'd like to ask the audience to remain seated after the valediction and the recessional, and then please come up the hill and enjoy refreshments with all of us in the dining hall. Amr.
It is my pleasure to offer these words of farewell to you, graduates of the Marlboro class of 2015, my students, colleagues, and friends. This world is a play of opposites. Outside, day runs after night and night after day. The seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall, chase each other. At the ocean, the tide goes in and the tide goes out. Inside, our hearts expand and contract. Our hands clench and unclench. If they remained always clenched, they would be paralyzed. Deeper inside ourselves, joy walks behind sorrow. Clarity follows confusion. Calm is at the heels of agitation. Communion marches behind alienation. Reality, says Rumi, turns you from one feeling to another and teaches by means of opposites, so that you will have two wings to fly, not one. I wish for you the confidence and trust in the nature of reality and the strength to live each feeling to the full. As Maya, your graduation speaker, has so honestly and eloquently described, may you inhabit loneliness and turn it into a solitude whose fruits are contemplation and insight, so that when spring comes, you can fully inhale the fragrance of flowers and bare your skin to the warmth of the sun. Like a tree that's firmly planted, may you send roots deep within and feed on the clear waters of self-knowledge. And at the same time, being sturdy in your trunk, may you keep reaching out and up and let your leaves tremble and dance with the caress of every breeze. I wish for you the harmony of opposites, that through this harmony, you become a blessing to yourself and a blessing to all beings in this world. I wish you joy, great joy.